five-time All-Star Marques Johnson.
Alongside Marques Johnson.
What's up, everybody? Hey, this is the Here District, captain of this vessel. And I got my first mate, my number one son, Kris Johnson.
What up? Talk to me.
Holla.
Let it rain, man. Let it rain.
I guess I go, guess what? We're going back into the show Friday.
Yeah. You can't pass us all the breakfast.
Can't pass us all the breakfast.
Go fight. Welcome, everybody, to the Here District. Marques Johnson.
You're listening to a Bucks Plus audio production on the Bucks Plus Network.
Your weekly pulse on the Milwaukee Bucks, straight from a Bucks legend. This is Here District with Marques Johnson, alongside his son and 1995 NCAA champion, Kris. Here's MJ.
All right, everybody, welcome to Here District. I am the captain of this vessel, Marques Johnson. I got my first mate, Kris Johnson. I got a whole lot of Johnsons on board today. And, we're the only father and son combination, tandem, duo that's won a national championship at the same school, UCLA. What's up, Kris?
What's good, MJ?
Oh, man, I'm going to tell you what's good, bro. Just looking at these squares, right? And not squares in the literal sense, more figuratively, or not in the figurative sense, but in the literal sense. The squares that I'm looking at on my laptop, just the a bunch of apples of my eye, all my children, except for one. And we'll talk more about that later. But all my children are here representing, and so I guess what we should do is just start with. Josiah, introduce yourself and kind of what you're doing and what you're up to, and just give the people a little bit of insight into who you are. That Joe, I know they know who you are, Joe, but so keep it short because we know you already, man.
I'm looking at all these squares as well. It's a lot of children you have. Very good looking though. I can look at every one of these squares and see good looking across the board. But Josiah Johnson, I'm the host, executive producer of Gil's Arena, presented by Underdog. Whoop whoop. Pleased to be back on Here. District was here for episode number 17, not number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, but the 17th episode. For some reason, y'all were playing me to the left, but happy to be back on here with all the family. Happy New Year to everybody.
All right. Next up, J. Marques, what's going on, bro?
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Joshua. Good to be back here. From last time, I'm still active, still doing my thing. But happy to be here. Happy New Year, everybody. Love all y'all. Everybody looks good.
All right, Cyrus.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Cyrus, the youngest brother of the Big Johnsons. Right now, I'm just working on doing a little background work, trying to get my foot in the acting game. I've done a couple shows, I think one called The Land, where I play like a background Steeler player. That was pretty fun. Played a couple years Division I mid-major basketball at a school called Sam Houston State. So nice to be here. Good to see everybody.
I'm sorry, I got to interrupt. He's not doing background work. His first big role was a principal role. He getting dunked on by Russell Westbrook over in that's his over at UCLA and Poly Pavilion. That's his first big thing. He got the full shot. We got a poster of him getting dunked on by Russell Westbrook. That's his first job.
Headband on, number 12, yeah. I think. Number 12 in black, the headband on. So
number 12 with the updo, with the headband looking sweet. Yeah, no, it ain't no background work. That's not what we started off with. The principal work, high level. We on screen. We getting poster work there.
That's how we doing. All right, Shiloh. Shiloh, you're up. I'm gonna say Mo for last. Go ahead, Shiloh.
Hi, I'm the youngest. I'm 16. I'm playing basketball at Windward, and yeah.
Okay. How tall are you, Shiloh? How tall are you?
Like 6'1", 6 foot.
Wow. And just your game. Just where's your game at now? Just what you got going for your. What do you like to do? What do you see yourself projecting out as a ball player? A center?
No, I would say like play anywhere, shoot the three, push off the dribble, rebound, all of that. Just like be very versatile.
Okay. Now, just last but not least, Moriah. He'll talk about what he's done in the past, but he was in Mo in Jamaica, and you got a bigger round of applause than Usain Bolt when you got introduced down in Jamaica. But tell us about yourself, who you are.
What's up, y'all? It's Moriah. I fall somewhere in the middle of all these Johnsons.
It's good to be here though. I doing occupational therapy. I work at a inpatient rehab facility out in Texas, and just taking it one day at a time. Got married last year. Just been making the most of it. So I'm glad to be here at the Here District. But you want to hear about Jamaica?
Yeah. And tell us about that Jamaica story real quick.
Yeah. So there was the award show called the Youth View Awards, and they reached out and wanted to know if I would present an award there. Just fly out there just to present an award. I don't remember exactly what the award was for, but I know when I got on the mic, the first thing I said was Wagwan. I hit him with that, real easy. Crowd went crazy. I got to present the award with Usain Bolt. So I don't know if I got a bigger one or not, but we were in the same vicinity when I got the loud applause. So it was a good experience. It was crazy to look back on.
But they knew who you were. They knew who you were from the
Oh yeah, oh,
Baldwin Hill show
oh
at
yeah.
BET.
Yeah, after I presented the award, I'm walking by the stands, hugging people, dapping people up, and I didn't even realize the show reached out there. So that was something new for me, but it was an amazing experience, man. It was dope out in Jamaica.
So now this reminds me of these squares. There was an old show that I don't think you guys are familiar with, Chris maybe, but a show called The Brady Bunch. Anybody, Chris, you remember that show? Probably before your time, may have seen reruns. But
There's a story.
I wrote a little ditty. I wrote a little ditty about the Brady Bunch. Yeah, exactly. So here's the story about a guy named Marcus. Had a bunch of kids by a couple of different girls. All were fine, just like their mothers. The boys all had natural Jerry curls. The Johnson bunch. The Johnson bunch. Yeah, the natural
Shiloh,
Jerry curl.
Shiloh, what do you think? Shiloh, what do you think about that?
Need some work.
Needs some work. Yeah. I
You
gotta
go,
smooth out.
Shiloh.
I gotta smooth out the rough spots, but it's all good. So look, I want to have some fun. Um, First, let's jump into growing up Johnson, and the memories that you all might have, it just in terms of not even basketball related, but movies. What movies do you guys remember? Any lines of movies, anything that stands out growing up as a Johnson? And just jump in where you want to jump in at.
First thing I was gonna say is both you mother is crazy. For whatever reason, I don't know where it came from or whatever. But that's the first line that pops in my head. And growing up Johnson. What you got to say, Joe?
Yeah. Going to get my other gun. Everywhere I go, Mo, people come out of the woodwork. Airports. Raymond, hey, Raymond, is that you? I'm like, yeah, no, it ain't me. This ain't Raymond. This ain't white man can't jump.
Hey,
Go
me.
ahead, Joe.
Hey, me.
So obviously we span a bunch of different generations here, all the way from the 70s to the 2000s. But I think for me, kind of being younger, going and seeing Hollywood Shuffle in the theater as a kid, and I had to be 4 or 5 years old at that point, not really understanding the magnitude and gravity of what Robert Townsend represented, and kind of that movie being one of the first in Black culture to actually get like a national release like that, and the impact it had on me. I was blessed to work with Robert Townsend later on in life, doing a show with Ava DuVernay and Michael Starberry called Colin in Black and White. He ended up directing the episode that I wrote. So
That's
it was
right.
kind of like a full circle moment for me. And then the other one I'm gonna say is super random. Chris, I know you'll appreciate this, but Terminator 2. So Terminator 2, when it came out, it was the biggest thing going. We thought all the movies were gonna be sold out. We went and saw a random matinee. It was completely empty because everybody was so scared of having to wait in line to go see that movie. But going to seeing that in the theater, I think randomly in Westwood at that spot, I think it's like a CVS now they converted it to. But
Yeah.
a lot of my experiences in life are based on movie theaters, and I can remember just, different things. Obviously going to AMC in Century City back in the day, sneaking all the with the famous Star Deli or whatever it was, all the food in there and all that good stuff back in the day. But obviously we
Yeah.
all have a lot of impact, influence in cinema and in culture. I think it guided and shaped a lot of us, obviously starting with you, Dad. And White Man Can't Jump, of course. Chris, you were in the movie. I got to be on set for a bunch of that stuff. We got to see you in character as Raymond every single day during that film when you refused to shave or
And
comb your
after.
hair. Method actor.
But it's funny, Joe. So quick story. We had a game recently against the Washington Wizards. So Bub Carrington and Marvin Bagley III and a bunch of these guys, Joe, on the floor with these huge afros. And so I did a little homage to Robert Townsend on the air. I was like, afros. And my partner Lisa didn't know what I was talking about, obviously, but it was Robert Townsend. It was Hollywood Shuffle, and I probably should have gave more background, but it's one of my all-time all-time favorite movie. Superhero, get your ass back to work. I mean, I love that movie. There's some classic lines.
Yeah.
All right, Shiloh, give me your the movie that you can remember seeing a lot growing up, if there is one, or you tell me what's going on.
I think probably the first one would be White Man Can't Jump. Like, I think that was the first time I realized like you weren't only like a basketball player, but you also did acting. And
Thespian, yeah.
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 So I think like when you showed me that, that's also when I started like doing the improv classes at school and stuff. So I think that opened like a new door of like realizing who you were.
Yeah. All right, Josh.
Man, honestly, your performance in Blue Chips always sticks out to me because it was like the first time I've ever seen you like just not cool with the glasses, just like complete geek and just like a nerd and like so timid, just like we're gonna get some keys. She joins some keys. I was like, what is his voice? This doing? No, but then that's when I realized, oh, this dude be acting. So, like Blue Chips for me was like that, just that timidity and just all those kind of things, man. It was a really good performance, it really showcased her.
Anybody ever understand the impact of The Godfather? Christian, I mean, did we watch that a lot when you were growing up? I'm trying to recall. I mean, I can sit down and watch that.
Yeah. So that
start
was
to finish right now.
Yeah, that was my era, I think, of being young. They were a little younger. I was kind of in that era where you made me watch all the movies. So for me, no, not like that, but that included old school. Just think about it. Growing up, you didn't want to see black and white, but MJ's making you watch, Sergeant York, Damn Yankees, the movie with the Jets and the Sharks. What movie was that?
West Side Story. It's a Wonderful Life.
And he used to walk around Christmas time going,
Mr. Potter,
Mr.
Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas, Mr. Potter.
Yeah, and so Angels with Dirty Faces too. You made me. For me personally, it was a combination of a lot of different things growing up with the movies. Like Joe had mentioned, you made sure we were at premieres too. So we stood in line for Purple Rain and The Color Purple, and I mean all type of movies you took us to see, kind of legendary status. Waiting in line, having the whole movie experience. But one thing I do remember that I kind of, and I'm trying to verify this, it was about Babu, Joshua's childhood nickname. Now, was that movie was that out of Babette's Feast or?
No, Madame Suzatka with Shirley MacLaine. Madame Suzatka with Shirley MacLaine.
Okay.
Madame Suzatka.
Okay.
She was a piano teacher. One of her students she called Babu. Oh, Babu.
So we used so Joshua's nickname growing up was Babu, Baba Dappa, or variations of it. We had a song called Go. Babu,
Babu,
go,
Babu,
Babu, go, Babu. So we used to do,
and he would start dancing. He would just start dancing, and this like little walker.
Literally
We'd
like
start
that.
singing that.
But all that to be said, I mean, I have a very rich memory of experiences with movies. MJ, you kind of opened up my eyes, my world, to having a taste for weird movies, black and white, new, old school. Hey man, black and white, I had a thing against black and white movies growing up. Like I refused to watch anything in black and white, but after I saw that it could actually be some good stuff because of MJ, I started doing it. But that's for me, my core memories growing up.
Yeah.
Okay, so Cyrus, and I want to delve into the genesis of this, and I'm trying to pull it up on my phone, but you can fill it in. I can't think of the name of the Polynesian director. You started telling me like some of your favorite directors, and this guy.
I think Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi. And he had a movie that I think he won an Oscar.
Jojo Rabbit.
About the rabbit or something.
Yeah, that was a really good movie.
Yeah, Jojo Rabbit.
That.
And you turned me on to that. But you mentioned about 3 or 4 directors that I had never heard of, him being one. So where did your, love, fascination, passion for filmmaking, can you trace that and tell us?
I say that definitely stemmed from you. You played a big part in that, putting me on to like movies. I remember being a kid, like we're just chilling the day and watching Back to the Future. That was a favorite one of mine by Robert Zemeckis. You put me onto that. And even I'd say Lost Boys. That was a fun. Like putting me out to a bunch of
Milwaukee.
80s music. Yeah.
Ah! Oh, wow.
Yeah, I really
Oh,
like
yeah,
yeah.
wow. Holy
Classic.
cow. Lord of the Flies,
All-
too. Wow.
All
Yeah,
them
Great
damn
Ball.
vampires.
Yeah,
Oh,
they're
man.
noodles. They're
Hungry.
noodles, Michael. They're noodles, Michael. They're noodles, Michael. They're noodles. They're noodles, Michael. Kiefer Sutherland, man, that was cold, man. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, that's good stuff, man. You know, I'm watching something right now. Billy Bob Thornton, Landman. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, that goes hard.
Oh man, so check out Landman. If you ain't seen Landman, is it Netflix, Josh? I'm not sure. I forget where
Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus. But Landman with Billy Bob Thornton, the casting is impeccable. It's perfect. The writing is terrific. Sam Elliott. I mean, the casting of these old people, and I say that because I'm approaching 70, and so I'm thinking now, hey, I could grab some of these old man roles now of guys 70 or older. So, yeah, go ahead.
Dennis Haber has it on lock in your age group.
Yeah, he does.
Thanks for reminding me of that. He actually beat me out for Love and Basketball, and that was a story basically about me and Kris. You know,
Yeah.
me and Kris.
Not basically, Dad. Not basically.
Yeah.
Not basically,
legitimately.
Full-time
Hey,
Jack move.
full-time shiesty
Full-time.
Jack move.
The Clipper, the dad, the former Clipper, the Crenshaw High School son.
Oh, yeah, we're going to change it to USC. Ha ha. Excuse
Yeah,
me.
exactly. But yeah. So I don't know if people realize how close that was. And the lady who wrote it and directed, Gina Blythe.
Gina Price Blythewood.
Yeah, and she was actually at UCLA, Kris, right? When you were there a couple of years older. Now she says that she didn't base it on anything Johnson, but hey, it's all good. You know, our imitation is the highest form of flattery, so I'm gonna take it for what it's worth. So
She said that?
Yeah, she lied.
in an article, she didn't say that.
lied.
They were asking her about where the inspiration came from.
Yeah, it's whatever.
She didn't mention Kris or Marcus or anything
Whatever,
like that.
MJ. You know how that goes.
Yeah,
Real
and I
Los
was
Angelenos now.
Yeah, I was so yeah. Anyway, it's a long story. I got a great story. We'll tell it further.
I read.
That's not a Here District story.
You know, I read for the Omar Epps part in front of Gina.
Did you?
Yeah, man. Come on,
I didn't know that.
Please. I read
Dang,
for a
Kris.
part, bro. I read for that.
Well, I actually read with Omar Epps, and he went completely off page mode, Josh. You know, when you do an audition, you got everything all prepared, you got the lines all memorized, and he didn't say one line that was in the screenplay, and it was just all just ad lib. And you know, it was I got to admit, he caught me off guard. It was a bit of a struggle, but hey, Dennis Haysbert did a fantastic job. Okay, here's a question for you guys. Which one of you guys reminds you of me more than the others? Any of them? It didn't have to, you know, it didn't have to
none
be. None of you? I would say Moriah, but no.
Moriah, I would say Josh.
Shadow, let me
Hey, that's crazy.
get your take on it. Any of your brothers remind you of me and mannerisms and just kind of walking, and you see them walk and you hear them talk and you kind of think like, yeah, kind of stuff like my dad's.
I'd probably say Kris.
Okay. Kris?
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Kris and Josh work you out, and how are they in terms of their temperament when they're working you out? Do they keep a pretty even temperament when they're working you out, or can they get a little raw sometimes when they're working you out? I'm just curious because I was pretty raw. I was pretty raw myself. Go ahead.
You're god awful.
Wait, Josh. Hold that thought, Josh. Go ahead.
I would say it's an even temperament.
Even tempered? Good. Glad to hear that. Josh, what were you going to say? Can you give me an example, Josh? Can you give me an example of just kind of one of your worst memories of me working you and Mo? It's usually you and Mo together. I got a bunch of them. What's your worst memory of Dad working you out?
Honestly, it is pretty stupid because you end up hurting yourself. It was just so dumb. So we shot a jumper, and then the ball bounced and hit you in the face.
That big toe.
And you got so mad, decided to kick the cooler, break your goddamn toe. It's just like, that's what you get, stupid. Like, what? The toe all black and blue, like this over here, just being dramatics and all that. Yeah, like, that's what you get.
Yeah, Josiah.
Now tell me about it. Now you asking me to walk you to the car.
So Josiah has two sons. Josiah's got a couple of sons. Marques and Joy are going to be just elite level athletes, man. Just don't follow my path. I remember I was working out Josiah. I think Josiah, when you were at UCLA at that point, but he was like, Dad, I want to get on the track. I want to do this. I want to do that. And we got on the track, and there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of dynamics at play. Me and his mom separated or whatever. And he thought he ran a certain time in the mile, and when I told him what the time was, he got so pissed off at me. Guys, that's bullshit. That's bullshit. I was faster than that. I was like, well, Joe, that's bullshit. I don't even. It was over at West LA.
West LA College. Come on now. I remember.
You walked off the track and. You walked off the track and never came back. That was the last time you asked me to work you out, man.
You're crazy. That stop. We had other workouts, but I'm sure all of us. For me personally, I can remember you and Kris back in the day. I think all of us have, there's several different versions of Marques Johnson, right? I think none of us tolerate disrespect. It could be a look, a word that somebody may give us that'll, set us off. But I remember back in the day, you and Kris be doing the workouts, and it would break into wrestling matches, and we used to have random just dents and holes all over the wall from where y'all would square up and start wrestling, and then a hip or an elbow would put a dent in the door or whatever it may be. But I used to always just remember walking around the house looking at stuff, all good natured, all love. Obviously, for everybody hearing this, this is the dynamic of a Black family for some of those Milwaukee who may not be of that particular ilk, but just the intensity of it. But then we could all be cool after that. And I think my favorite memory of you, I think I've told this story before. High school senior year, I was playing in a janky pair of Jordans, but I was never the type to really ask for shit. So playing in this janky pair of Jordans, sliding all over the court, still putting up 25. But you pulled up to the gym with some Garnets, and in your typical kind of nonchalant way, like, held these new pair of Garnets with the air bubble. Like, yo, man, you want these? And I'm like, hell yeah, I want those. Like, what? But you were good for that thing too. Just coming to the crib with, like, oh man, I got, whatever. Like, just shit that obviously we wanted, kind of playing it off like we didn't want the stuff.
Yeah. That's funny. Yeah, that's hilarious. So Moriah, do you? Me as a kind of ersatz fake assistant coach, JV. How was I as your coach? Was I pretty hard on you and Josh back in those days, man?
So yeah, I would say you were definitely hard, definitely getting off in us and all that. But I think it was to our betterment. You weren't letting us get away with stuff, wasn't cutting us slack. I actually before the Crenshaw stuff, I thought about when we were training in Culver City, and I thought about this one line you told Josh. We were doing some kind of 3-man weave or something. Josh is on the ground in the middle of the summer sun in Los Angeles, kind of just getting himself together. And my dad's rushing him to get up, rushing him. Josh's like, man, I'm in a daze, man. I'm in a daze. And then my dad, I don't know if you remember that. Dad gonna say, come to the nights. Like, just so simple. Like, this boy got a concussion. Got a concussion or so.
Probably like my first
come to the nights. Hey, come to the nights,
man. Leave the days and come to the nights, son.
But you were definitely raising some hell at Crenshaw while we were up there. But looking back, I know that it was a lot of you just trying to make sure we got to where you wanted us to go and where we could go with our potential and whatnot. So you were definitely, you was talking some big cash money during them practices. I was saying I got to deal with this competition, and then I got my dad on the sideline talking about 0 rebounds. Look for the ball. Where's the ball?
You heard that, Shiloh?
It's just you, baby.
Oh,
the 0 rebounds is crazy in front of everybody.
Yeah. Okay, Sai, you remember the clipboard incident?
God damn.
The clipboard incident.
You got something with all of us.
You remember the clipboard incident?
I think so, yeah. Like, you threw or broke a clipboard.
So we played in a tournament. And so Coach Anthony Collins, Coach Ant, he wanted you to play up, like with the 17 U's. You were about 14. And he wanted you to play up. And Ant was like, he can hang. I'm telling you, Marques, he can hang. He's good, man. He can hang. And so when I asked you about it, you were adamant that you wasn't going to play. I ain't playing with those dudes. So we went on the parking lot, and you was all up, just adamant that you wasn't playing, and just, and I had this like really lightweight cardboard clipboard in my hand, and I kind of tapped you upside the head with it. And it was a light tap. It was a light tap. But Cyrus went down like I had a 2x4 in my hand. He went down. Oh.
Yeah, I think you caught me by surprise.
Anyway, but man,
you got heavy hands, Dad.
I mean, That's
I wouldn't have
that's
told
probably
that
not
story.
that's not a here district appropriate story. No,
No,
I'm
I'm just
kidding.
saying. I mean, yeah. I mean, there's dads that have done worse, and I'm saying this is like a template for you, Joe. Things not to do.
Oh
And then
no,
with
I've had to adjust, but because I'm coming LeVar Ball initially, but I have to take steps back. But I think all that. But at the end of the day, I think what we can all consistently say is that it came from a place of love and an
Yeah.
understanding. And ultimately, you got a 5-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA player doing it to you. It's a little different than a rank and file coach at the YMCA or some random dude with a nickname like
Yeah.
Bubblegum or Kool-Aid or whatever it may be that,
Right.
coaches
Well-
on the weekends.
Well, I'll say this. When it's definitely because I grew up while he was still a player, making a comeback. And so that part of it, being the test dummy in one-on-one, of him going full speed, of him using all his strength against me at times, right? Because I was a strong dude at an early age. That all made me the guy that I became. But
Yeah.
But also, like, the reason I was so crazy and off kilter is because I had to take myself to levels outside of my age to even compete with this guy. So, and then he would have me playing against his boys. So at a young age, I was playing against the grown men. I was in the leagues with them, and I was like playing. So I used to have to like be a superhuman to try to compete and hang. And so what you guys saw and heard about is, the crazy Kris on the court, it was based off of having to raise my level of intensity because I had to go against these dudes because he wasn't taking it easy. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? So I think that's what
Yeah.
made me the player
Come
that
to
I
the day.
I definitely admired that about you, Kris.
Yeah.
I definitely admired that about you, Kris, on the court, and I can never get myself to that level. But to see your ability to basically punk dudes and take their will to want to compete and take their heart away from them on the
I
court
had
just
to.
with
They
the
was
stuff you
doing
were
it
doing,
great.
physicality, whatever, all within the confines of the game. But having to guard you too and deal with it too, and just like
Yeah.
I mean, I think that helped elevate and obviously pass it down from generation to generation as we all went
sure.
at each other. I think we're a 7-year age difference. Me, Josh, and Mo, like 7 to 9 year age difference. So
For sure.
passing that level of toughness down, physicality and aggressiveness, but those are things that are essential on the basketball court.
So now this is like the clipboard incident, and I don't know if you guys remember. So we're at the UCLA track, and so I'm running, come back, trying to get back, working hard. Kris and Joe are kind of jerking around a little bit, kind of laughing and giggling. And so I'm like, look, if you guys don't get serious, I'm gonna deal with you. So they kept on just having fun. Probably 12 and whatever 5, right? 7 years, 12 and 5, and so oh, and so they kept on doing it, guys, Shiloh. And so there was this long plank, wooden plank, just about 8 feet long. So I told them to come over here and get us 4 out each. And they bent over. I had this long plank. And again, it was a clipboard. I just kind of tapped them on the butt. It wasn't like a hard hit. It was a little tap. But this lady was running around the track, and she saw me, and she came over and grabbed Josiah and said, "Oh my God, what is he doing? Don't do this to your kids. Don't do this." I told her, I said, "If you don't get your motherfucking hands off my son, you're gonna be next." And she's kind of like, "Oh," and she went back and started running. yeah. Oh my God, oh my God. So, but I said, if you don't get your hand off my son, you're gonna be next. Get in line. You want to be next? You keep touching my son. But so here's my favorite story with Shiloh. So I'm working Saturdays out in the backyard, and I was really, really hard on side, like I was with all y'all. I was we're working. I'm yelling, I'm cussing, I'm this and that, and Bobby Knight and this and that, and that was kind of what I don't know. But back in those days, how long ago was that? He was 12 or 13, so that was 14 years ago, whatever it was. And so Shiloh's watching. And so I'm working out Cyrus, I'm working him out, and we get done. And then so I turned to Shiloh, I was like, all right, come on out here, you're next. And she just turned, guys, and walked away. I was like, Shiloh, come back here. She shook her head, didn't say a word, just kept walking into the house. She was done
That's
with it.
Shiloh.
So she's about 4 years old, 5 years old. Fast forward, she never worked out with me. 2 or 3 years later, I was talking to her. I was on the road somewhere. She's like, "Dad, I played basketball today." I was like, "Oh, first time. Okay, good, baby. How'd you do?" She said, "I did good." I was like, "Well, you know me. Like, how many buckets did you get?" She was quiet on the other end. I was like, Shiloh, how many buckets did you get? Hold on, I'm counting. 12, 13, 14. I had 14 buckets. I was like, 16 points or 14 buckets, and then that's when she started to kind of work out and work on her game and get herself together. So, it's been a I'm really honored that you guys, I'm just honored to be your father. Let me put it that way, man. Each and every one of you have brought something totally unique. I get a chance to work out with Cyrus on acting and put my 25 years of acting training to good use.
Oh
Side,
yeah,
we're having a good time. You're learning stuff.
oh yeah, with the acting stuff, yeah,
Huh?
you just helping me kind of get in tune with my emotions and all that. And I really respect Josh because, just watching him work and working with him, just seeing how he can take it from like a 1 to a 10 is just one of the most impressive things I've seen, like from an acting standpoint. So just to work with both of you guys it's an honor.
Yeah, I mean, Cyrus is one of these guys that can cry on cue. You know what I mean? And I ain't talking about just a little Denzel Washington glory tear. I'm talking about snot, and so it just blows me away. Yeah, Viola Davis blows me away how he's able to access his emotions. And so he's got a tremendous future in this business and just kind of getting started out. Got the great look, the great body. A lot of success is going to come his way. So now let's talk a little bit about music. Favorite songs that you remember hearing in the household. Is there one song in particular that you're in the car that I would play all the time? Anybody got anything? If not, that's fine too.
I got one.
Oh, go ahead.
Out of my hands.
Out
Out of my hands.
Okay.
So that's I was talking about this the other day. That's one of the first times I actually got recorded on a beat, Dad. So that's something big for you right there. And then
Wow.
when you played it out in Hawaii on the station. I was so young that I thought like, damn, we made it to the radio. I was like
We're on
hella
the radio.
excited and all that. But yeah, but you had the cassette tape and all that. But Out of My Hands for sure. But definitely
So Out of
some
My Hands,
oldies though.
yeah, Out of My Hands was a poem that I wrote when I was real frustrated because Larry Bird, they were calling fouls on me when I was guarding him. He told the referee, he complained to the referee, "Get him off me, Red." Just cursing, "Get him off me, Red." Called 2 quick fouls. I was so pissed off and frustrated. I went back to my hotel room and wrote this poem. Out of my hands, no control, no say, acquiesce to someone's demands. Rule of thumb is act real dumb and pretend there's nothing wrong. But if your senses are real, your mind's right. Kind of hard to go along. Out of my hands, acquiesce to someone's demand. You play the game, you perform the role, and then you try real hard not to console yourself too long after you're through. Not really a test of a man. Only when the scale is red do you find who's really who. But we did this as a song. And Joe, I don't know if you
Out of
remember
my
this.
hands.
I remember being very offbeat at one point, and you guys all
But
laughing
Joe,
at me.
you came in with the air guitar. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom,
Yeah.
boom.
Out of my hands.
Out
Yeah.
of my hands, no control, no say, acquiesce to someone's demand. No, it was we had a
Out of
good
my
time.
hands.
Shiloh, what does that bring to mind for you? Rap songs.
What is
Las
rap
Ve-
song bring to mind?
No, just where were we? Belize, maybe? Little Boss Shiloh.
Oh, Las Vegas.
We're in Vegas or Belize?
We were in
Let's see.
Vegas.
We were in Vegas, and she did a whole rap song about Little Boss Shiloh, and it was just you remember any of those lines off that song, Shiloh?
Not off
Acapella.
the
Anyway,
top of my
something to the east, and something to the west, the best. I don't know. Yeah, but my point is this: is that I've tried to encourage the creative kind of element in all in some kind of way, whether it's acting or writing or singing, or I've tried to get Cy to take a screenwriting class. He's going to take it before it's all said and done. But because all of you guys got so much to offer in terms of your life experience, the way that you can articulate. And that's why, Josiah, you're so successful at what you do. Just your ability to articulate and to bring together and make these great observations and keep the conversation moving. So I've always tried. That's why I bring up the Aquilea and the Little Boss Shiloh and Out of My Hands. But any other favorite songs, Cyrus? You got anything that sticks out to you that I might have played over and over in the car on the way to practice? It just got on your last nerves because I always played it. I don't know.
I wouldn't say it got on my nerves, but something that comes to mind instantly is like during Las Vegas road trips, you'd always play Paul Simon a lot. And I feel like that kind of helped my love for older songs, Paul Simon, like Diamonds on the Soles of Her Shoes and 50 Ways to Leave Me Lover.
Oh my
Yeah, so
God.
just playing
Yeah.
old classics like that, I think kind of gave me appreciation for like older music.
Yeah. Yeah. See, and I'm playing Graceland 5 times a week right now, Chris. I'm still in the Paul Simon Graceland and looked up all the information on it and how, he appropriated that South African musicology and made it kind of used it to further his financial gains and all that stuff. I love my white guys too. Carly Simon and Rod Stewart and Mick Jagger. Man, I'm just I love my rock and roll too. So
That's why we can flourish in any setting.
Yeah.
I could be at a Red Hot Chili Peppers concert. I could Stevie Wonder. I could in any of these different settings. I can rock with.
Yeah, I appreciate that. All right, so now let's talk about the NBA as we wrap this up in terms of WNBA. Shiloh, who do you just love watching? If you saw her on the screen right now, you'd just be fixated in watching her and as a player. Who would it be?
Asia Wilson.
Why?
I just think like her energy is very contagious and like she just plays like super hard the entire game and she's just super versatile, which is what I kind of like want to be. And I just like love the intensity she plays with.
All right, next, let's move on. Anybody else? Anybody else got something for contemporaries? I mean, who all is LeBron? LeBron or Kobe? Who's the best? Who's the better?
LeBron.
Huh? Josh?
Woo.
LeBron, Mo?
No comment. That's tough.
Oh, man.
Cyrus?
They're talking like cultural. I'm gonna have to go LeBron.
Well, yeah. Whatever criteria you want to use. Straight basketball, cultural, whatever you want to use. Okay, 6'7". 6'7".
Ah,
All right.
6'7".
Just you remember when we did Coach Wooden's last interview, and you guys were all there, Kris, Josiah, and we were at his condo, and I asked him about LeBron and Kobe, and he liked LeBron because he thought Kobe was more of a player who brought the attention upon himself. It was about Kobe. He thought LeBron was more of a team guy. So now you guys all had, I think, Josh, did you come out for a finals game? I think everybody else was out here for the NBA finals in 2021, first time the Bucks have won a championship in 50 years. Giannis. Talk about Giannis. Yeah, everybody didn't have to talk about it, but anybody got any observations on Giannis and kind of how he appeals to you, what his game means to you, if anything? You ain't got to make nothing up, but I'm curious to know what your
No, I'm not making nothing
perception
up. No, I'm just a big fan of the dog that he is, and then especially after that windmill that he did in his explanation for it, just meaning like, we ain't got nothing to lose. We're not playing clean no more. Like we got to get to the playoffs. I'm not going to lose, and if I got to do this and be that representative of what it takes to win, whether it be clean or dirty, I'm gonna do what I got to do. And so just seeing that just took it to a whole nother level of respect for me as far as him as a player and as a human being. I've always been a big fan of his, especially since his rookie year in the league. He's always been one of those upstanding kind of dudes. But it was just good to see how dirty he's willing to get, and just like not play that game of why fair play when we're in this position. Like, nah, we got to do what we got to do.
This is like the beginning of the new year. Last year around this time, the Pistons were 13-18. They finished up 31-20. 44-38 overall, made the playoffs, sent the Knicks, gave them a scare. With the Bucks right now, as of this taping, the Bucks were 5 or 6 games under 500, but still 5-6 games out of fifth place. Josiah, what would you and the crew say at Gil's Arena about the Bucks' chances to make the playoffs this year? Have you written them? Have you written them out yet, or you still think that there's a chance?
I would argue that they play in the Eastern Conference, and as you know, the Eastern Conference in comparison to the Western Conference, I think pales in comparison. So anything can happen in the East, and what you have right now is a lot of mediocre teams around the league, right? And I think Swaggy P made this comment about the Lakers. He was like, basically, the Lakers are the best of the ass teams, right? They could beat all the other teams, but when it's time to play the good teams, that's what they struggle against. There's so many teams around the league, and barring that Wizards game aside, but you have an opportunity with a lot of these games to build and stack up some wins. And real quick, just about Giannis, because I know you were talking about that. amazing player and all the other amazing stuff. But I want to go back to 2019, your jersey retirement ceremony back in March of 2019. What stuck out to me amongst all that, emotional day for all of us, amazing day to be all together. Obviously, we're celebrating Grandmommy's birthday during that time as well, and for her to be able to be there and see that moment too, amongst all the other family, Junior Bridgman and all the other amazing people. Rest in peace to both of them. But Junior taking us to the dinner, I believe the night before, taking everybody, entire families, the Johnson family, we like to eat very well, took us to this lovely steakhouse. But just seeing your relationship, bond, how much respect you guys have for each other. Junior, living in the house that a lot of us grew up in over on Innadale. And that was, as a kid, my first time going to that house was going over to stay with the Bridgman family. And then it was always my mom was always blown, moving back in that spot. Like, I've stayed here before. Like, this is where the other Bridgman used to live. But for that event, one thing that really stands out to me about Giannis was watching the bulk of that retirement ceremony, and he had this look on his face of just like amazement, appreciation, but also you could see in the face, at least for me, what I took from it was like, I want to be here one day. This is something I want to, I'm looking at yourself and all the other amazing Bucks players that laid the foundation, and him just kind of being out there having the respect for you, but the respect really just the look on his face of like him thinking about when he was going to be in that position down the road and doing the things necessary to obviously get there. So that was 2019 before you won the chip. Look, my experience in Milwaukee, great city. Obviously, I'm from LA, so it is what it is. Milwaukee's my Eastern Conference team, but people there, they love and respect you. I got a lot of great friendships and relationships as a result. I got a close friend now in the Sadoff family who I randomly met in Atlanta when the Bucks were in the playoffs out there. I think 2021-ish. I was doing some work for TNT, but just longtime Bucks fans, sit courtside. And literally, I just talked to him last night. We're going to hang out and get lunch or whatever. But just the love and the respect that Midwestern culture, I don't think you can replicate that anywhere. For somebody like Giannis to be one of the longest tenure players, other than like Steph and Draymond, right, to play with the same team for the rest of your career, to somebody else comes along and maybe surpasses you, this is what you get to represent. This is who you get to be in this city. You are the man. You are the MJ of Milwaukee. You are the Magic Johnson, the Kareem, the Kobe, the LeBron, whatever it may be, of that city and that culture. And obviously Milwaukee fans are going to love you to the end of time for that.
So look, it's no secret that I've probably been denied the Hall of Fame, 3-time finalist, maybe more than anybody in history. Okay? I don't know. I haven't looked it up, but we'll look up that stat. But I would venture to guess there hasn't been any other 3-time finalists that have not been elected to the Basketball Hall of Fame. This year, I've been nominated by the Veterans Committee. Should I look at that as a kind of a backdoor move, kind of a slight? If that were to happen, there's no guarantee it might happen. I still may not get in. But the Veterans Committee compared to, the ballots, first ballot, second ballot, third ballot. I'm just looking for you guys' input in terms of just my perception, how I should handle that, because I'm a little, I'm a little in my feelings. I ain't gonna lie, but you guys tell me, should I, if they select me to be in the Hall of Fame, I should be grateful and appreciative. And
I don't think you should feel lesser than, because as long as like you know who you are, what you've accomplished, I think that's all that matters. Like it's kind of just another like title almost, but we all know like what you've done and like all you've accomplished and like the legend you are. So
oh, thank you, babe. All right. Well, listen, guys.
Let me jump in real quick, Dad. Let me jump in real quick. Let me jump in real quick, because we talked about this, and I feel like every year for us, kind of same thing, right? You get nominated. We're super excited about it. Obviously, all everybody's reaching out to all of us to say how happy you are, congrats, and all that. And then comes the other part where now they I think during the Final Four, right, they make the announcement of the Hall of Fame inductees for that year, and it's always kind of a little downtime for you. But for you personally, to be nominated for the Hall of Fame, and I've told you this, I mean, that you're being nominated amongst the greatest players in the history of basketball, right? So that in itself, yourself, Coach West, I mean, all the other amazing people that have reached that distinction, that in itself is an accomplishment you can't take away. You're in the discussion, right? Your name is constantly showing up. And for everybody who knows you and knows what you were doing back in those days, they rock with you, right? And they talk about how great you are. So just a quick story, close friend of mine, who I came up with at NFL Network, a buddy by the name of Marcus Miles, named after you, Marquess. And every time I see a Marcus with an Marquess that's in this age range, you know the impact you had, because it's such a unique name and a unique way to spell it. So my buddy Marcus Miles, he reached out to me a couple years ago His cousin, I think, was a part of a group that was doing like analytical stuff in high schools. And basically, they were putting together like Hall of Fame campaigns for players like yourself. They did one, I think they got Ben Wallace into the Hall of Fame by just doing an analytical breakdown. Here's just the facts, the information comparative to all the people who are already in. So they have coincidentally had a chapter at Crenshaw High School. That chapter at Crenshaw High School put together the analytical breakdown of why you should be in the Hall of Fame, comparing you to other guys who got in or whatever. And it was astounding and overwhelming that you deserve to be in. So I think even that right there just shows the magnitude and gravity that kids that you've never met in your life before, high school kids at the same high school that you went to, are sitting here spending their time breaking down, the reasons why, the numbers, and just numbers. We're just a numbers family, right? We don't like to sugarcoat or whatever. We are a numbers family. I think a lot of us obviously can look at Kris and you and the careers that you had. We didn't necessarily get to that level, and we kind of had our own come to Jesus moments. But I'm not going to bullshit. I didn't live up to what I needed to live up to, whatever it may be. But I think looking at you, and that's just a testament to you and everything, the foundation you were able to lay in LA, city of basketball, how you're still revered in the city, the love that we get as a result of being you, being your kids. And even Shiloh, I know you're probably feeling it now too, even decades and decades removed. Walking into that gym, there's a level of respect, an appreciation that we all get even to this day. I coach high school basketball on the side, and rolling into those gyms and seeing some of the older people in there talk about you and your glory days and just the love that they have. So getting into the hall, you get in, you don't get in. Obviously, I know we would all love to be out there, celebrating that moment with you. But you're a Hall of Famer to all of us. We know how good you are, and we're not gonna sugarcoat a bullshit. You can just look at the numbers, right? Like I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you. That's why everybody who knows me, I ain't gonna sit here and lie to you. The numbers say it. And had your career not been shortened by obviously that unfortunate tragic neck injury, I mean, you had to play for Clippers in the heyday of the Donald Sterling era. What are we talking about, ladies and
And I was
gentlemen?
an all-star. I was an all-star. I was a Clipper all-star back in those
With the
days.
Clippers, but everything you did with the Milwaukee Bucks,
Yeah.
when we touched down, I didn't get to really feel that love that you had in Milwaukee. I know, Kris, you were out there a lot in your younger days, but 2019, I think, was my first time ever coming to Milwaukee. And just, we came out, I think, a month or two before the Hall of Fame, just to get a lay of the land, kind of figure all that stuff out. Like I said, my first time ever being out there, and just to see the love you had. We went to a Diedrich's spot, the lineup king, was that Hillside or whatever, but just touching parts of the city that, I think a lot of people might be scared to go through, but just seeing you roll through those spots and the love and MJ and all that stuff.
Cuts. Yep.
And a close friend of mine, Michael Starberry, who's the showrunner on Colin in Black and White with me, did Legend of Chamberlain Heights with me for all the young kids out there on TikTok that have seen that thing trending. But me and Starberry hit it off right away because he grew up in Milwaukee, used to hustle tickets to go to your games and do all that stuff back in the day. So the love that he had for you literally helped us bond initially, because for me, whenever I meet somebody and they start talking about, your accolades and all that type of stuff, I know that they're actually a true scholar of basketball and a real basketball head, not a casual, as the young kids would say. But I say all that to say, I know I'm long-winded, that obviously you deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think that's any question or conversation, but you're also at the mercy now of squares. And as we know, squares are not the circle. There's a lot of squares out there who, could go on Pro Basketball Reference, could look at a couple YouTube clips, but don't really understand what it was like back in those days, you being not the original point forward, but coining that term and taking that position to a whole new level that we've seen guys like Scottie Pippen, LeBron, and others now that have followed in your footsteps. The love that LeBron James has for you, showing love to you the day of your jersey retirement, doing work with me as a result of his love for you, you know what I'm saying, putting bread in my pocket because he rolls with Marques Johnson. But I think these are all important things, and whether you get in or not, that's a man-made thing, right? That's the opinion and validation of others. I think you validated yourself and cemented yourself as one of the greatest basketball players in the history of the game.
You reminded me, Joe, in the 80s, about a 2 or 3 year stretch in a row, at least 2, I believe. But the general managers, they would poll the general managers in the NBA and say, if you could start a team, what player would you draft first? Who would be the first guy you'd start with? And I got named that player about 2 or 3 years in a row when I was like, 24, 25, 26, 23, 24, 25. So anyway, yeah, I was doing some work. Go ahead, Josh. What do you think? Josh Cyrus?
No, I was just gonna say, man, Joe pretty much covered pretty much everything you could cover. But just like, I just don't want you to get caught up into all the accolades and the validation of others, man, because as you see on this call, all these squares here, I know I'm sharing one with Cyrus right now because my service kind of went out. But you have the validation of your kids, and not a lot of men can say that. And so I think that's something to be proud of within yourself is one thing. And then also, you know who you are in God, and I think that's the most important thing, man. And so, we're just not here for this this worldly and human validation, man. We're onto a bigger path, you know. And so I just want you to know, and know that we love you, we appreciate you, regardless of what anybody else says or thinks in that regard, man. And it's just so much more bigger than that, honestly, man. And so, we've been let down before. We'll be, I'm not speaking that into the universe, man, but like, we love our daddy. And at the end of the day, that's what's most important, in my opinion.
As a family, we've been doubted, but hey, we have always still been about it, right?
Every turn, doubted, but always
every turn. Always somebody not trying to fuck with us, not rolling with us, whatever it may be, but we still here getting it, and you have to come see us at some point
we tried to do a reality show. We tried to do a reality show. What?
Yeah, Big Johnsons.
Yeah, 2015, well, not 20, but 10 years ago, maybe 10 years ago, and just think if they would have picked that up then with Josh's work that he's done on the Tyler Perry, All the Queen's Men, and Moriah on Baldwin Hills, Josiah on one of the top ranked sports podcasts, Gil's Arena,
the top
podcast. So yeah, they missed out. Cy, quickly, anything?
No, I think I can understand how pride would kind of play a role in when it comes to the Hall of Fame voting, but just like Josh said, I'd say how great you are, but we'll always stand behind you.
I appreciate you guys so much. The first of 2026 coming through and sharing your love. I love all you guys tremendously. You're my heart, and I'm just so proud of each and every one of you for the adults in Shiloh, the budding young adult that you are, and it's just been a real
Dad. You never said that before.
To be your father. So I appreciate it.
Get all emotional.
Probably want again, but
yeah.
It's the first time for everything. No, man, I love you guys. All right, Here District, we're out of here.